So hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and I've been asked to very briefly talk about the role of activism in my life. It has helped me focus and be a better actor and be a better person and be a happier person. So I invite you to join me. Right, this is kind of funny. I had just finished making Klute, and I was traveling around the country speaking on campuses where I would be paid $2,000 a speech, and all the money was going to fund the Winter Soldier investigation, which was members of the American Armed Forces, all branches, came together in Detroit, Michigan, to discuss what they had seen and done in Vietnam, and the documentary was made. Before I started making Klute, I became friends with a fashion designer who had a factory of knitwear in San Francisco named Alvin Duskin, and he gave me a lot of free clothes. And this coat, even though it's not knit, it was leather, but this was one of them, and so that's what I had on. It's fortuitous that I was wearing a very fashionable long suede coat when I was arrested. The arresting officer told me, as he was holding me in his office, that he was arresting me under orders from the White House. That would be Richard Nixon. I had flown in from my first speech in Windsor, Canada, into Cleveland, where I was stopped at customs, and all of my notes, my address books, everything were taken. I had a lot of vitamins in a little plastic bags, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they accused me of smuggling drugs. Right after this picture was taken, see, I have double jointed hands. I slipped my hands out of the handcuffs and threw a fist. This was the early 70s, so I still had that iconic haircut. It was the wonderful Paul McGregor in Greenwich Village who gave me this haircut. I had been making a film in France with Jean-Luc Godard, and I went to Italy for a manifestation. That meant a political rally on behalf of women's rights in Italy. And I had my well-worn knitwear that Alvin Duskin gave me. He gave me a whole lot of clothes, and they were really my wardrobe for years. I see a little shredding at the cuffs. I wore them a lot. Oh yes, well this is a day when it was National Secretary's Day, and so I went out in support of women office workers and talked a little bit about them and the struggles that they had. I was in the middle of making a film that I produced called 9 to 5. I'm wearing the wig from that movie. The struggles that women office workers have today is even more difficult and more challenging. It's not just sexual abuse. The spying by employers is worse because they are given computers and cell phones, and so the bosses know everything of how long they take toilet breaks. They experience wage theft. It's really, really bad. In other words, the fight continues. That's Marlo Thomas, that's Whoopi Goldberg, Bella Abzug, me, Morgan Fairchild, Ellie Smeal, Glenn Close. This was a national march for freedom of choice for women. It was a huge march in Washington, D.C. It was a very important time. It makes me sad to look at this, that we lost Bella Abzug, because she was such a force to be reckoned with. This was around 1989. White clothing we associate with the suffragette movement, and so we all wore white. Again, this is a movement that continues today. The right of women to control their bodies, because if women control their bodies, they control their lives. And we still live in a patriarchal society that doesn't want women to control their lives. This is now. I was in Big Sur with my friends Catherine Keener and Rosanna Arquette, and I was reading about Greta Thunberg, the Swedish student who began the Friday student school strike that became a global movement. Inspired by Greta, I decided to move to Washington, D.C. and hold what we're calling Fire Drill Fridays. You see, Greta said, we have to behave like we're in a crisis. We have to behave like our house is on fire, because it is. So, Fire Drill Friday. And every Friday, we have a rally that focuses on a specific topic: oceans, women, war and military, forests, human rights, migration, and how they are affected by climate change. We have expert scientists, people who are the most affected from frontline communities, and celebrity friends come and join me. And after the rally, we engage in civil disobedience, which means risking getting arrested. So I'm being arrested. Note the white plastic handcuffs, whereas the arrest photo back in 1970 were metal handcuffs. These are white plastic and they hurt more. These rallies aren't in order to get arrested. They are to try to raise the sense of urgency around this looming disaster of climate crisis. For 40 years, we've marched, we've rallied, we've written, we've petitioned. We haven't succeeded in getting enough people and enough elected officials to really deal with this like the crisis it is. And so we have increased our activism to include civil disobedience, which is an extremely honorable thing to do, to commit nonviolent civil disobedience for an important cause like the potential destruction of human civilization. No kidding. So when we started meeting about these Fire Drill Fridays, we decided that we should try to wear something red every Friday, and I didn't have anything red, so I found this coat on, I don't even know who designed it, on sale. This is the last item of clothing that I will buy. So much of our identity, especially in this country, is about shopping, buying things. See, I grew up, I was born in 1937, and for the first decades of my life, we weren't so focused on shopping. Consumerism wasn't a big thing. Plastics didn't exist, nor did television, by the way. And I'm grateful that I lived at a time when we did just fine, thank you, without television, without consumerism, and without plastic. Trying to minimize consumerism, I have to walk the talk. It's not easy. I had to do an interview in the upstairs floor of Saks the other day, and as I'm walking through Saks, you know, I'm going, oh, look at the, oh, no, I can't. You know, oh, what, no, oh, no, I can't. It's hard. So I can't shop anymore, but that's okay because I have other things to do.